This video is sponsored by GOG.com. So, things are really looking up for the Silent Hill franchise, right? While the series was, by all accounts, dead for most of the 2010s, it's really come back with a bang since Konami announced the series' revival in 2022. Since then, Silent Hill 2 Remake released to rave reviews and has already surpassed 2 million units sold in just a matter of months. And while it's still early days yet, Silent Hill F is certainly looking promising, boasting a pretty impressive roster of writers, art designers, and composers. Silent Hill Townfall is cooking in the background as well, and while we don't know a whole ton about this title just yet, given the fact it's being led by No Code, I'm pretty confident they'll deliver when the time comes. Simply put, there's a lot to be positive about right now, and we live in exciting times where this beloved series, one that shaped the landscape of horror gaming and even horror as a medium, is well and truly back, carving a new name for itself in the modern gaming world. Though, perhaps what's most exciting about Silent Hill's new lease of life is the fact a whole new generation of gamers can experience and fall in love with the series, just like we did on the PS1, PS2, and beyond. And naturally enough, a lot of new fans will want to go back to the series' roots, right? Let's say you play the remake and you loved it, but now you want to go back to the OGs, experience the Team Silent era where the franchise began. I wish this was an easy task, but the nature of retro gaming is quite the opposite. With the old school Silent Hills, your options are very limited. Playing on original hardware is out of the question for most people, considering you're looking at a €200 price tag for an almost 30-year-old game. But even if you do get your hands on a PC copy, there's still a few more hoops you have to jump through to get it up and running. These games are old, after all, and you'll usually need a ton of fan patches just for them to run on your modern PC. Not to mention a host of other issues depending on which entry you're playing in particular. Silent Hill 1 never even made it to PC. The Silent Hill 2 and 3 ports are temperamental at the best of times, but it's when we come to Silent Hill 4 that things get a bit more complicated. While this is the only classic Silent Hill that is actually available on modern platforms, there is one big problem. The PC version is, unfortunately, incomplete. It is outright missing content from the original PS2 release, as a large number of the apartment hauntings are absent here. So on the one hand, I'm happy that my personal favourite Silent Hill is so easily accessible, something that cannot be said about 1, 2, and 3. It simultaneously breaks my heart that new fans who might buy this on PC are playing an incomplete version of the game. But that ends today. I am absolutely honoured to share with you guys today that the wonderful folks over at GOG.com are bringing Silent Hill 4 to their preservation program, and with it, a bunch of improvements to the game. The most important being that the missing PC content has finally been restored. At last, over 20 years later, we can now officially say that Silent Hill 4 on PC is complete, and you can get it today. Right now. Best part is, if you already own Silent Hill 4 on GOG, then your copy will be upgraded to this new version for free. Everybody wins. I cannot put into words my excitement when GOG reached out to me about this opportunity. The past few weeks I've been playing this brand new definitive version of Silent Hill 4, and I've got a lot to say. So let's talk about what's new here. As someone who has already played this entry dozens of times on both console and PC, it did not take me very long to spot the enhancements in this version. Up until now, the PC port of Silent Hill 4 was a fickle beast at the best of times. It had a rather infamous issue where alt-tabbing out of the game or changing the resolution would completely break it. Colors would get messed up, items or character models would go missing, or sometimes the screen would go completely grey, leaving you no choice but to wander in an endless void. The only way to fix this issue was to quit out to the main menu and reload your save, or just avoid alt-tabbing altogether. Quite the nuisance if you're playing for extended periods of time. So naturally, when I got my hands on this new version, this was one of the first things I tested out. And I'm very happy to say that these issues are no more. While playing this new release, I didn't have a single graphical or technical hiccup even after 10 hours of playtime. I was alt-tabbing to my heart's content and the game kept running as smooth as can be. This is a truly stable version of the game, something I would never have said about Silent Hill 4 on PC previously. The game has also been optimized to run a lot smoother on both Windows 10 and 11, and as a Windows 11 girly myself, not by choice, trust me, this was an absolute relief. Anyone who's familiar with retro gaming knows that trying to play older PC games with a modern controller can be a whole survival horror of its own. With the classic Silent Hills, controller is absolutely the optimal way to play, but you'd often have no choice but to rely on external software like DS4 Windows just for it to even recognize your gamepad. But with this new release, it's really as simple as plug in and play. On top of the existing controller support, there is now full support for a number of new controllers as well, such as Google Stadia, Sony DualSense Edge, Amazon Luna, and plenty more. Even my own controller that released only 6 months ago runs like a dream with it. Didn't even have to adjust any of the button mapping. There's also controller vibrations now and even hot plugging, so if your controller ever drops connection mid-play, you can swap to another one without having to waste time rebooting the entire game. So with these issues fixed, my playthrough was as smooth as could be. But about an hour in, I noticed something different. Not with how it plays, but rather with how it looks. The original PC version of Silent Hill 4 was way too bright, a stark difference from its PS2 counterpart. And while this could be adjusted manually in the options, a newcomer to the franchise would be none the wiser about this issue. They'd think this is just how the game looks. However, in this new release, the default brightness and gamma have been altered to more accurately match the original PS2 version of Silent Hill 4. This is a change that I very much appreciated. Instead of having to mess around in a settings menu, the game looks perfect out of the box now, more accurately preserving the original visual style and serving to bridge the gap between the console and PC versions. Now, it's worth mentioning that the existing GOG release already had a few improvements of its own, and they are all still present here, same as always. Post-processing effects like motion blur have all been restored, 4K resolution settings and widescreen support are here, and the cutscenes have been bumped from 15 FPS up to a smooth 30. Combine this with all the brand new improvements I've just talked about, and I can safely say that this new version of Silent Hill 4 runs like a dream. I was having a blast replaying it. But something I was very eager to see was the elusive missing content that has now been restored. For anyone unfamiliar, Silent Hill 4 introduced a very unusual gameplay element: your own apartment. In between exploring, fighting, and knocking nurses down comedically long flights of stairs, you could retreat to your apartment, room 302, for a moment of respite. But halfway into the game, this apartment becomes haunted. Suddenly, windows are slamming shut, your TV is turning on by itself, and even ghosts will emerge from the walls. Your only safe haven is torn away from you. You're in danger just as much here as you are in the outside world. Many would agree this is one of the most unique mechanics in the game, and perhaps in the entire franchise overall, forcing you to expel the hauntings with candles or medallions you find during your travels. However, for the past 20 years, the PC port of Silent Hill 4 was missing half of these hauntings. Out of the 14 possible hauntings that can randomly happen on your playthrough, 7 were missing on PC. An entire chunk of one of the game's core mechanics completely absent. Not to mention, those that were missing are some of the coolest and most memorable moments in the entire game. It was really quite tragic that these were cut from the PC version for seemingly no reason, but with this new release, the folks over at GOG have restored all of the missing hauntings, and I was so insanely excited to see them crop up naturally in my playthrough. Sure enough, I managed to see all of them during my time playing, so let's walk through each of the 7 newly restored hauntings that you can expect to see in this release. Slight spoilers for late game spooky moments coming up. Once you reach the second half of the game, your apartment, once a place of solace, becomes haunted. As soon as I woke up, I was straight away hit with the first of these new hauntings, a dark, shadowy figure of a child crying in the closet next to my bed. Stand near these hauntings for too long and your health will plummet, so you need to deal with them very quickly. It wasn't long before the next 2 showed up, blood spewing from the kitchen faucet, and a very inconsiderate ghost making a mess of bloody footprints on the carpet. What the hell, man? Thankfully, these 2 scares are contained within the kitchen and don't really get in your way, but things can get tricky if you get this next haunting, which causes a bunch of creepy looking dolls to hang over your item box, waiting to say hi to you every time you need to pick up supplies from your apartment. The interesting thing with this haunting in particular is it's completely self-inflicted. Early on in the game, you encounter Walter, before you even know who Walter really is, and he offers you a shabby doll. It's a total waste of space in your inventory, so most people would throw it into their item box without a second thought, right? But that is exactly what will trigger the doll haunting later on. Walter, you little scamp. Since this haunting was absent in all previous PC releases, whether you took the doll or not didn't make a difference. Nothing would happen either way, rendering this eerie conversation with Walter as nothing but flavor text. Now that the doll haunting has been restored, this interaction finally has consequences again, as it was always supposed to. The next 3 restored hauntings are some of my favorites in the game, and I can't describe how happy I am that they're finally back. Eventually, you might spot a stream of blood flowing out of the peephole at your front door, and when you go to have a look... Ugh, spooky. And if you're really lucky, or unlucky, depending on your perspective, you'll come across the rarest haunting in the game and possibly the creepiest of the lot. A photograph on your bedroom wall suddenly changing to a portrait of Walter's cold stare. And just in case Walter wasn't creepy enough for you, he'll call you up and let you know himself in the last of the 7 restored hauntings.
I'm always watching you. I'm always watching you.
These hauntings, on top of the ones already existing in the game, make the apartment feel so much more oppressive and terrifying, and the playthrough becomes so much more of a fuller experience now that they're all here. Up until now, if someone ever asked me what was the best way to play Silent Hill 4, it was hard to recommend the PC port in good faith when it was missing such a central part of not only its gameplay, but its identity and what makes this such a unique entry in the franchise. But now I can recommend it. Everything's here. Over 20 years later, Silent Hill 4 on PC is finally complete. You see, this isn't just a win for the Silent Hill franchise, but game preservation as a whole, in my opinion. If you've watched my videos, you've heard me yabber on about this so many times, but it really is important. According to a 2023 study, close to 90% of old video games are considered unplayable now without resorting to piracy, and this is a statistic that has never left my mind. The sad fact is, game preservation is pretty dire. And yeah, emulation has been holding the fort for years, but we shouldn't have to jump through hoops just to play a 20-year-old video game. They should be accessible and affordable, here and now. Games are too culturally important and influential to be lost to time so easily, or so outrageously expensive that they cost an arm and a leg just to play. I really do mean it when I say that the folks over at GOG did God's work on this new release. Not only does it finally have all of the missing content, but also the fact they've ironed out so many of the infamous bugs and glitches this game had. It runs so fluidly now. I plan on doing a pretty beefy Silent Hill 4 video in the very near future, and what a pleasant surprise it is that now I can do so without having to fire up the PS2. Personally, this new GOG release is now the definitive way to experience Team Silent's final entry in the franchise, and hopefully this is just the beginning. If we show it enough love, then maybe we'll see Silent Hill 1, 2, 3, even the post-Team Silence make their way onto modern platforms as well. Now that this series is back, let's make sure that it's here to stay. So folks, you know what to do. Head over to GOG.com and grab yourself Silent Hill 4 The Room, available today. And remember, if you already own Silent Hill 4 on GOG, then your copy will update to this new version completely for free. So go, play it now! Thank you to GOG for reaching out to me with this amazing opportunity, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.